am Heather from Here Booktubes, and I am an advocate for DNFing. I think that we should all DNF. I think that it is good for not only the reviewer, but other readers, the author, the general rating of the book, all of those things. DNFs are good. If you don't want to continue that book, quit. Here's your permission if you need it, but quit. There's nothing wrong with quitting. There's nothing wrong with deciding that a book isn't for you, even if it's an okay book, even if it's a good book, even if you would probably give it a fairly high rating. If you don't feel like continuing it, you don't have to. You just don't. There's no requirement for it. Personally, I think that DNFing is healthy for the book community. It's certainly healthy for my own personal reading, my own mental health, my state of being, what have you. So, all right. This is my third quarter DNS, okay? And we just seem to be escalating, but like a lot. So, we've gone up every single quarter. And so the third quarter DNS is 34 books. For reference, the second quarter was 19. Also for reference, I started tracking my DNS in 2021, and for the entire year of 2021, I have 49. 2022 was 42, and now 2023 is up to 90. So it's fine. Of the 34 books, 23 are by new to me authors. And I will tell you at what percentage of the book I DNF'd, why I DNF'd, all of the things. Here we go. I hope you're buckled up, because I have some rants ready for you. First one, just in the order that it's showing me on the Goodreads, because we're just scrolling through, is Anna Maria and the Fox by Liana de la Rosa. This is a historical romance. I did not like the writing. I DNF'd at 2%. And that was that. Then I have Taming a Miami Boss by B. Mulaney. I DNF'd this at 22%. This book is wild. This man has no respect for women whatsoever. This man has a toddler daughter. He keeps losing nannies because he's sleeping with them. He fires the nanny that has been doing a great job with his child because she had to go get her son. And he was like, no, you have to put this ahead. And then quickly goes to begging to get her back because his daughter is unconsolable, right? She's a good nanny. And he had... Spoilers, he killed the mother of his child. We don't really know why. I got the implication that it was because she was annoying and a problem for him, and so he killed her. He is a drug dealer, which that's fine, but he doesn't really, the way he talks to his mother, I was like, ooh, you're gonna get smacked. So his mom makes him take her to this restaurant to give her all the things that she wants to be his nanny again. And the restaurant has a dress code, so she's not in her scrubs, she's in like a nice dress. And he's like, oh, I didn't realize how hot she was. So this man has just realized that he absolutely cannot manage his life without her. He needs her for his daughter. And 2 seconds later, he's like, but maybe I'm gonna sleep with her. Also, he moves her and her son in with him. Also, she's in the middle of a divorce. I saw some things about this that made me want to read it, but then like I just didn't like him. I didn't like him, and I didn't get over that, so I quit. Then I have Reverie by Shane Rose. This is a billionaire romance, and I DNF'd at 2%. I did not read the first book, and you definitely needed the first book to care about the wedding, which is the opening scene. And then the guy was like being a douchebag about his own brother's wedding, and I just feel like that crosses the line of like just a gruff, grumpy character, and just like, no, like you're actually a bad person if you're taking your brother's wedding and being like, this isn't gonna last and stuff. I didn't like him, so I mean, I stopped immediately. Then Pump 2 by Jay Cherry. This is a longer novella. It's like 165 pages. I made it a few chapters in. She works at a gas station. He rides a motorcycle. He never takes his helmet off. She never sees his face in the whole book. And it was okay, and that's it. I didn't feel like finishing it. Then Owen by Ellen Drew. This is Bear Shifters. I thought it was a novella, but it's actually 330 pages. It was not good writing. I DNF'd it at 1%. Then I have The Duchess's Bodyguard by Drea C. This is a sapphic fantasy paranormal romance novella. It's 140 pages. I DNF'd it at 77%. It's just not good. It's not good. The writing is not good. I was just, kind of going along with it, but then I didn't want to go along with it for another 33%. So, it's just not good. Then I DNF'd The House Witch #2 by Delmac, which is the first book on here, I think, by a repeat author. This is 358 pages. It's a cozy fantasy romance, yada yada. The first book is 658 pages, and I gave it 5 stars. Here's the thing. This house witch, he's the royal cook, right? And he's a pretty powerful witch and all these things. And he is friends with the king. He's friends with the king's advisors. He saved the queen's life. He's friends with the prince, who's like 8 years old. He's friends with their spy master. He's friends with their captain of the guard. Just all this stuff, right? And the queen, the whole first book, his love interest, she is the queen's best friend. And she's being forced into a political marriage, really, to save the country. The country's on the brink of war. The queen this whole time has been like, I want her to be able to find love. And then she's falling in love with the house witch, the royal cook, and the queen is like, absolutely not. You will not sacrifice this country for this. And we're many hundreds of pages. Everybody has, I know he's a commoner, but everybody has an unrealistic relationship with him. And I just felt like that was a weird little switch up. I know that they're doing the angst and everything, but I'm hundreds of pages in. And honestly, this one I might pick back up, depending on mood. I really might. So that's a pause. That's a possibility of picking back up. None of the others are a possibility of me picking them back up. This one is. Then I have Shucked. It's by Kate Canterbury. This is another author that I have already read. This is 462 pages. It is a brother's best friend romance, which is not my favorite trope by any stretch of the imagination. I usually avoid it, but I do really like her writing. So I DNF'd it at 48%. I read 200 something pages and decided that I did not want to read a whole nother book's worth of book in this book. I assumed that they get together. There was nothing wrong with it. It was good. It was good. I would even dare to say that it would have been a 4 or 5 stars depending on the second half. But I didn't need to finish it. So we stopped where we were. I got what I wanted to from it and I was ready to move on. Then Gouda Friends, which is by Kathy Yardley. This is the second book in the series. This is my third book by the author. I have given the other 2 books 5 stars. I DNF'd this at 65%. This is Friends to Lovers. We have made it 65%, where they can't be together for no apparent reason. Absolutely no reason. No reason. They've already slept together. So we've done that. And at 65%, they decide that they're living together also due to circumstances. They decide that the solution for this is that they'll be friends with benefits instead of dating. And I was just like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That fixes nothing. Why are we doing this? There's literally no reason why you can't just be dating. And we're 65% into the book. So I feel like you two can start dating anytime now. And the fact that they were like, no, friends with benefits will fix all of our problems because we can't stop wanting to sleep with each other, but we're just friends. Shut up. Shut up. Nobody wants to hear your melodrama. Then I have Next of Kin by Hannah Bonham Young. She gets unexpected custody of her birth mother's new infant, and he has custody of his deaf teenage brother, and they both need things to meet the criteria to be able to have them. She needs a better house and he needs more income or something like that. And so they're going to live together through this program. But honestly, it was pretty emotional and I had just had a friend die and was not, I don't like reading emotional books on the best of days, but I just was not in the mental headspace for this. Nothing wrong with it, but I do think it's a little bit heavy hitting. Then I was studying Disposition by Deanna Gray. I think I DNF'd this after the first chapter. They have been messaging each other without realizing it's the other one, and obviously they're gonna meet and fall in love with real life, not realizing that it's the person they're messaging. Also, he did not show up to meet her because he got beat up in a fight that he started, and he gets amnesia. And I could not care less about that trope. So then I have The Sinner and the Scholar by Lana Pecherzik. This is an assassin, and I DNF'd at 3%. It was super duper violent. I was like, actually, maybe I'm not ready for this at all. Then I have Midnight by Sean. This is a steaming novella. This I was currently reading when my friend died. I then read the Rook and the Rose trilogy for the next 3 weeks, and by the time I was done with that, I didn't want to pick up any of the books I had been currently reading, and so I DNF'd all of them, including this one. This is a steamy interracial novella. The other books in the series are Black Love, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It was good. It was life circumstances. I might pick it back up, or I might just read another of her books. Either way, I recommend the author. Then I have Demonic Prince by Karen Kinsey. She's a dragon shifter. He's the half-demon bastard son of the old king. The queen is trying to kill them and capture them and all sorts of things that, who even knows why. It was very much bad. It was bad. It was not good. I DNF'd at 49%. The only reason why I made it that far, knowing that it was bad, is because I needed something to just shut my brain off. And for that, I need mediocre books. A great book is going to make me connect with it. It's going to require too much of me. And sometimes I just don't have the bandwidth. So sometimes I read all of or more of a very meh book just because I need it. Just because I need absolutely no emotions whatsoever. Then I have Goal by Alexandria House. This will be my third video that I've filmed the second that you see ranting about this book. Editing me here to say that the fact that this book is $9 as the ebook regularly is a crime. It's a crime. And I just need to take the time to tell you that you should not buy. I bought it on sale for $1.50. I've been waiting since it came out to read it because I was not going to pay $9 for an ebook. Absolutely not. So I paid $1.50 and I still feel ripped off, honestly. I do not feel like I got my 75 cents worth out of this book. So the fact that some of you are paying $9 to read it is like, I can't relate. I don't understand. I like this author. I have many books by her that I really, really enjoy. I also have several that I don't, and this falls in the vein of don't. I DNF'd at 41%. So this man, he is sent away by his father when his father's white wife is pregnant, does not want his son there, she wants her own little family, she doesn't want his teenage son. And he turns to hockey for his emotional well-being, right? And he never sees his father again. And then it's years later, and he finds out that his father had 2 children that he's never met. Both of their parents are dead. They found his father, and they've been put in foster care, but he was left guardianship. And so they want him to take guardianship, and he feels like he needs to. Now, he has a fiance that he does not love. So that already doesn't work for me. Like, don't play with people's emotions. Also, his fiance's rich, so it's not even that, like, she needs him to provide for her or anything, and he feels like he owes her that. He just feels like he owes her for no reason. So they're engaged even though he doesn't love her, doesn't really care about her. And she throws a fit about these kids needing a home, even though she has absolutely nothing to do with them. She didn't sign up for this. And he's like, oh, I understand she didn't sign up for this. Like, I get why she's upset. And it's like, actually, she's being a really bad person. If you love somebody enough to marry them, then you're signing up for the things that are unexpected. And life is full of unexpected things. You don't know what tragedy or trial is coming your way, but you can bet something is. We all go through things. So you can't be like, well, I didn't know that you were going to blank when I decided to marry you. I mean, lots of people do, but I personally just think that that is a bad thing. If that person isn't doing it themselves, right? That's a completely different scenario. But if they're going through it through circumstances that, you know, couldn't be predicted and were no fault of their own, if you love them, then you're going to help. You're going to support them. And she did not, even though they were still sleeping together. And these kids have been through it. They have been through the trauma. They found their father dead. They went to foster care. They are now with their brother that they have never met before in a whole new school, whole new city, absolutely nothing familiar around them. They have been through it. The adults don't care about them. They don't care. They hire a nanny. Specifically, the fiance hires a fat nanny because she thinks that she won't be attractive to him. And all he can think about is fucking the nanny. Because why would he care about these kids? Why would he care about these kids? He wouldn't, but he definitely wants to sleep with the nanny, even though he's sleeping with his fiance that he doesn't even want. Oh, also she's a virgin and saves herself for a worthy man, and apparently that's him. I just feel like if you're going to do the depth, the trauma of these children, then you need to actually write characters that are going to care about that, and she didn't. Then I have You Saved Me by Rosalind Falk. This is a book. It's Black love. I never did make it to the love interest. I DNF'd at 4%. The writing was so repetitive. I cannot even begin. 4%, all right? This is the writing. He's late to work. His stomach hurts. He wants to swallow his significant other's dick. He needs coffee, but he can't because he's late. And his stomach hurts, so maybe he shouldn't have coffee. Also, his stomach hurts. Also, he has to do XYZ today. His stomach hurts. He really does want to suck that man's dick, but, you know, no time. Does he have time for the dick? No, no time for the dick. I'll be late. I am late. I need coffee. I don't have time for coffee, but my stomach hurts. And I was like, what are we doing? Absolutely not. I was so annoyed. I'm not kidding you. We finally are on the road to work. We're almost there. And he talks about his stomach hurting again. And I was just like, well, I am done. I'm out. I throw in the towel. I cannot do this. Then I have Queen of Death by Alicia McCoy, who wrote the zombie Wide Shoe series that I really liked. I DNF'd this really early. I didn't really like it. It's kind of like a second chance where they were the king and queen of hell, and then things happen, and like I think they don't remember that they love each other or something, and they're gonna get back together while people are trying to overthrow their regime. I just didn't really care. Date with a Demon by Maggie Mayhem. DNF'd 3%. The exclamation point is never a good sign. Oh, I remember this one. She was like, it's a demon or whatever, with like exclamation point. I was just like, what is that? No. Bad. Then I have Queen of the Dome by Miza R. I never did meet the queen. We're following this man, a DNF 4%. He's going to try and save his abusive family from the Queen's Guard, and there's an uprising, and the Queen is going to use him to try and put it down, I think. I didn't make it that far. Then Possessing Eden, which is Disciples number 7 by Izzy Sweet and Sean Moriarty. This is one of my favorite insta-love trash mafia series that is not good. My favorite one is Taking Megan because it's stolen from the wedding. These books start out at 200 pages, and this one is 452 pages. And I was reading the first abuse scene because she's leaving her abusive husband. And I don't like opening up on abuse scenes. I really do not. And it was like 9 hours worth of reading. And I was like, this is not a 9 hours worth of reading quality book. I'm here for a short but good time, not a long but mid time. Then I have The Gatekeeper by K. Alex Walker. This is a Polynesian death god and his fated mate. I DNF'd this at 17%. The writing was not great. They were, bantering nobody's ever told him no, and she stands up to him, and wow, that's so attractive and so unexpected. But it just wasn't really, it was leaning too much into the tropes and not actually like giving me the depth that I wanted. Then I have Tempting Little Thief by Megan Brandy. I am done with this author. This is a 548-page book. We opened up on an abuse scene, and I don't like that. I don't like it. Then A Lady's Guide to Etiquette and Murder by Diane Freeman. This is a cozy historical mystery with, I believe, a romance subplot. I DNF'd at 6%. I think I need to just stick to romantic suspense. I think my actual mystery days are over, despite me trying. Then I have There's an Orc in My Court by Jen Hallett. I DNF'd this at 6%. So this is by a white author, and the orc is definitely coded as a black man. He is having to shave off his locks in order to go to this court. And the author was kind of trying to address injustice, I think, but honestly, especially because orc is a racist stereotype of black people, I just was not comfortable with it at all. And I'm not saying that the author is super racist. I'm not even saying that she was like super, I'm not saying anything. I barely read anything, but what I can tell you is that what I read, I was not comfortable with. I did not think that that white author should be writing that. And I think that using an orc, which again is a racist stereotype, or like a racist caricature almost, as a way to write about the black experience without writing about the black experience because you're not black. I don't know. Like it was a no for me. Then I have The Warrior Midwife by E.P. Valley. I DNF'd it immediately. There's a very traumatic birth scene. I've already had my own traumatic birth scenes. I've had 3 children, and honestly, I just don't really want it in my entertainment. It stresses me out. I don't want to ever go back to that. Like, I'm done having kids. I don't know. Like, I would not want to be present for someone else's birth. That would be traumatic. And I don't really want to read a lot of scenes about it, especially not like really difficult scenes. Then I have One Look by Lena Hendricks. This is a grumpy single dad, and I DNF'd at 24%. There's some very funny, embarrassing moments. This is the one where they meet because she is hired to cry at the funeral. I did really appreciate the author's content warning of a parent with dementia. That is something I tried to avoid. 24% in, I didn't care if they got together. And so I stopped. It was like, I was like, yeah, this is fine, but I don't need more. Then I have Captured by the Orc General by Charlotte Swan. I DNF'd this at 11%. It was not good. It would have been mediocre at best. Then I have Only If It's You by T. Lynn. I DNF'd this at 2%. I did not like this way this man treated women. I did not like the way that his father treated women. And I also heard that the main character ends up being super annoying. And I have Vicious Devotion by Evita Weiss, a favorite author of mine, a tragic DNF. Here's the thing, I just wanted like a smutty little monster romance, and this is world building and emotional healing and all sorts of like trauma being fixed and healed, and I didn't want that book. I didn't want it. Then I have The MidSummer Bride by Katie Wilde. This was release day on the day that my friend died, and I was reading it, and I was actually trying to get through it so I could film a video. I ended up not filming a video because I was not good to be on camera, and I got to like the 60 or 70% mark. Who knows? Maybe even it would have only been like the 50% mark. And the rest of the book wasn't there. It wasn't there. It was just chapter titles. The rest of the book wasn't there. So the author, was fixing it. It took several days for it to be fixed with the actual correct thing being put up on Amazon. And by the time it was put back up, I was again into the Brooke and Rose trilogy. I never did get back to this. By the time I could, I wasn't in the mood anymore. I absolutely will pick this back up and I will finish it. No doubt in my mind. I love this series. I love this author. So this is more of a paused book, but you know, sometimes it's just circumstances and not the book's fault, and that's totally fine. Then I have A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan, which is half of A. Carrick, which is the authors of Brooke and Rose trilogy. However, this is about an older lady and remembering how she became like this world famous dragon historian or whatever, and I didn't really need that story. I did try it because, again, loved the Brooke and Rose, but decided it wasn't something I actually needed to read. Then I have A Quiet Life in the Country, which is Lady Hardcastle Mysteries by T.A. Kinsey. I've been seeing this everywhere. I've heard wonderful things. I made it to 13% and just wasn't hooked. It's a couple of older ladies that solve mysteries. We found the dead guy. I assume that they figure out who and why he was killed, but I didn't care if they did or not. Then Castles in Their Bones by Laura Sebastian is a young adult fantasy romance, and it was written in third person. Not big on young adult, and I didn't like the writing style, so I was looking for a reason to DNF and immediately got one. And lastly, I have Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. Ray, if you're watching, do not yell at me. I have explanations. So this is an indigenous adult fantasy. It does open up on the mutilation scene of a child for what I assume was religious rituals. It returned to the library. I often with fantasy read 1 or 2 chapters at a time until I get to the point where I'm hooked, and then I just read the rest of the book quickly. But I was still in those making myself read a chapter here, making myself read a chapter there, and I needed to go back to the library. So this one, I again will be giving another chance when I do get back from the library. I will continue reading a couple chapters here, a couple chapters there, until hopefully I get hooked and just finish the book. That is the plan. If you haven't heard about this on BookTube, I don't know where you've been, because I've heard about this a million times. It's been on my TBR since, it's the oldest book on my TBR right now, since December or so of 2021, I think, and I've been hearing about it for longer than that. So I do want to give this a fair chance, but I am not hooked yet, which is common amongst fantasy books. It's honestly absolutely no critique. It's not unique in that way at all. It's generally how I get myself to read fantasy, is I keep reading a little bit here and a little bit there to the point I'm actually interested. So that's it. That's all the books that I DNF'd in July, August, and September. Let me know if I should continue any of these, specifically only the ones that I said I might continue, because the rest don't have a chance. You could tell me it's the best book you've ever read, and I'm happy for you. And you know what? I could love it too, but I chose not to, and I am really fine with that. No FOMO at all. Like, it's cool. I still have books on my TBR. I haven't run out yet. That's it. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.